Hello?
Hey,
Hey, Kathy, good. How are you?
Caitlin, I just want to personally congratulate you on being named captain for the 20. All the best to the whole team tomorrow in the Tuesday in the Commissioner Cup final.
Yeah, we better get that.
Well, looks like the haters are having a full-blown meltdown. And honestly, it's glorious. Caitlin Clark has just been named captain of the WNBA All-Star Game, and the internet is in absolute chaos. While critics were busy ranting about her attitude in endless Twitter threads, real fans showed up and made their voices heard at the ballot box. The irony? It's perfect. So what's your take? Did Caitlin truly earn that All-Star captaincy? Or are you one of the many currently spiraling in a social media rage?
Caitlin, we saw obviously the results for the All-Star game. I know you're more about winning, but still that's got to be a little bit meaningful for you considering you're still so new to the league.
Yeah, no, obviously it's cool, and it's cool that fans get to be a part of it and have a little impact on the game. And then I think also it's going to be really special to be able to do it here in this city. And I think there's already been so much time and effort put in by so many people that aren't going to get credit for what they did to bring All-Star here. So, trying to make it the best All-Star the WNBA's ever had. I know we'll certainly do that, but also,
Oh, wow. Where do we even start with this beautiful disaster? Caitlin Clark. Yes, the same player that online trolls love to say doesn't deserve a thing, was just named captain of the WNBA All-Star Game. And the reactions? Pure, unfiltered comedy. Twitter's in shambles, and we're just sitting back enjoying the show.
Figured to have a couple familiar faces in the All-Star roster from your teammates.
Yeah.
Have you already gone through that process? Do you expect to get baskets from some of your teammates that join you there in the roster?
I certainly... Obviously, I'm going to try to get my teammates on my team. Why wouldn't I? That's obviously the goal. And, once they come out with whoever has made it and whoever hasn't, I guess I get to pick and choose. I don't really know how it works. I guess I just found out 2 hours ago. But obviously, my first goal will certainly be able to have my teammates on my team.
Let's break down what actually just happened, because some folks clearly need a serious dose of reality. Caitlin Clark didn't just get voted into the All-Star Game. She made history, pulling in nearly 1.3 million votes, the most in WNBA history. To put that into perspective, she got more votes than every single 2023 All-Star combined. But go ahead, keep saying she doesn't make an impact. Clark doesn't just move the needle, she is the needle.
So today, lads, we're going to be talking a little bit about the reaction to Caitlin Clark getting her All-Star starting spot.
Now, before the usual crowd starts losing their minds in the comments, let's go ahead and address the obvious. Yes, there were plenty of worthy candidates. Skylar Diggins-Smith, Sabrina Ionescu, Aja Wilson, all phenomenal talents who easily could have earned the All-Star captain spot. But here's what the haters always seem to forget. All-Star voting is, and always has been, a popularity contest. That's the whole point. And you know what's truly hilarious? The loudest voices crying about Caitlin Clark being named captain are the same ones who watch every second of her games, probably more than her actual fans.
Yeah, the fans are, and I don't even mean the fans, I mean the hatelins. The hatelins. Now, we know what they are. There's no point calling them fans. But actually, you know what? No. I think there is a good point in calling them fans, because that's what they are. They are fans. They are Caitlin's second biggest fan group, because they are watching every single game. If the Hatelins are watching every single game, they are going out of their way to watch. Obviously, they're watching every single game. They're tweeting about Caitlin on a daily basis.
They're out here obsessively watching every Indiana Fever game, live tweeting her every pass, every turnover. Tracking Caitlin Clark is their full-time job. At this point, congrats. You've officially become her second biggest fan base. The obsession is wild and honestly, a little sad. Let's talk about some of the most unhinged takes floating around. She's averaging too many turnovers. Really? You know who leads the NBA in turnovers nearly every year? All-star point guards. When you dominate the ball, control the offense, and make plays like Clark does. Turnovers are part of the package, but expecting that kind of basic basketball IQ from some of these people? Yeah, apparently that's asking too much. Then there's the classic, her team doesn't win enough. Now that's rich. The Fever have been one of the most improved teams in the entire league this season, and when Caitlin's on the floor, they look like a completely different squad. But here's where it gets laughable. These same critics are hyping up Angel Reese and the Chicago Sky, a team with just 4 wins, as if that's somehow more impressive than what Clark's doing in Indiana. Make it make sense.
They're not happy. Rigged public vote, who cares? I pity the players she select on her team. There's a lot of semi-viral tweets, and I mean, I wish these people that get these viral tweets actually, you know, voted.
The most hilarious part of this so-called outrage? It's so see-through when the Dallas Wings, Chicago Sky, and Indiana Fever all played at the same time. Guess which game everyone, including fans of other teams, was glued to? Yep, they were watching Caitlin Clark. They claim to be diehard fans of Paige Buchers, Angel Reese, and whoever else. But when the lights come on, they're all locked in on Clark. Whether they love her or hate her, they just can't stop watching. And since we're on the topic, let's talk about Paige Buchers for a second. She's amazing, no question. It's Paige freaking Buchers. Only a fool would deny her talent, but the argument that she should have been all-star captain over Clark. Let's be real, Clark is averaging more points, more assists, more rebounds, and has led her team to more wins. Their shooting efficiency? Nearly identical, but somehow Clark is the one who doesn't deserve it. Here's the truth that stings for the haters. Caitlin is putting up bigger numbers, taking on a heavier offensive load, and doing it every single night. Advanced stats, impact metrics, even the good ol' eye test, they all point to Clark. But of course, that won't stop the goalposts from being moved. And then you've got media voters out here putting injured players, who've barely played half the season, as all-star starters. But Clark being named captain is where they draw the line? Please. I saw ballots with players averaging 6 turnovers per game, missing weeks of action, and those got 0 criticism. Meanwhile, Clark, who's been consistent, dominant, and healthy, gets dragged for a turnover stat. The hypocrisy is unreal. And don't even get me started on this whole rigged narrative. Rigged? Because fans voted? Because Clark is popular and drives massive interest? That's not rigging. That's called being the main attraction. This is a business. And Caitlin Clark is the best thing that's happened to the WNBA in a long time. The timing of this outrage is just too perfect. These are the same people who were screaming last year that Clark wasn't being respected enough as a rookie. Now that she's leveled up, carrying her team, and finally getting recognition, suddenly she's getting too much attention. Pick a side. The double standards are exhausting. And here's another tired take. She only got votes because of her college fan base. Cool. And those same college fans are now tuning in every single night to WNBA games. Isn't that exactly what the league wants? New fans, new eyes, growth. But apparently, if those fans support Caitlin Clark, they don't count. The gatekeeping is embarrassing. And that turnovers argument? Come on. Clark averaged more turnovers per game last year and still made the all-star team. This year, she's averaging more points, more assists, more rebounds, and fewer turnovers. But somehow, she's less deserving. Make it make sense. And let's not ignore the big picture here. The Indiana Fever have massively improved, especially when Clark is on the floor. They've gone from bottom dwellers to playoff contenders, but haters want to cherry pick random games or cold stretches instead of looking at the full impact. For example, when Clark didn't play against the Sparks and Indiana lost. Crickets. Nobody wants to mention that. And yet the internet is flooded with posts calling the vote rigged or unfair. Meanwhile, most of those same people didn't even bother to vote. They just showed up late to complain. If they put half as much energy into supporting their favorite players as they do hating Clark, maybe their candidate would have won. And the whole I can name 10 better players argument? Okay, then name them and explain why none of them got the votes. The reality is this: Caitlin Clark brings star power. She brings entertainment. She brings in casual fans, and she makes people care about women's basketball. That's not just valuable, it's rare. Now she gets to be all-star captain. She'll pick her squad. Will she go young and draft someone like Buchers? Stick with her Fever teammates like Aaliyah Boston? Whatever she does, it's already creating buzz, and it might be exactly what the all-star game needs to get exciting again. And finally, let's be real. Watching people try to downplay Caitlin Clark's impact on the league, that's been one of the most entertaining parts of this entire ride. The numbers speak for themselves. Games featuring Caitlin Clark consistently pull in the highest ratings. Fever games, both at home and on the road, are packing arenas. Merch sales off the charts. But somehow none of that seems to matter to the critics when it comes to all-star voting. Please, let's talk about the selective outrage. These haters love playing the comparison game. They'll cherry pick stats from a cold shooting night or a single rough stretch, all while completely ignoring the bigger picture. Clark is having a phenomenal second season. She's grown as a playmaker, sharpened her decision making, and has been a key factor in turning the Fever into a competitive team again. But because that truth doesn't fit their narrative, they focus on turnovers or field goal percentage from 3 random games. Even funnier, these same critics will praise veterans and international players for their poise and leadership. But when Clark shows those exact same traits, suddenly it's attitude issues or she's too demanding. The double standard is blindingly obvious, and honestly, it's insulting to anyone with common sense. So what actually happened with this all-star captaincy? Simple. The fans spoke, loud and clear. They voted for excitement. They voted for entertainment. They voted for the one player who makes everyone care about women's basketball. Even the media voters who backed Clark, they weren't confused. They understood the moment. Clark brings eyes to the screen and energy to every arena she steps into. Her selection wasn't just about stats or win-loss records. It was about impact. She's done what no one else has. She's brought mainstream attention to the WNBA, turned casual viewers into dedicated fans, and elevated every player she shares the court with. That level of influence deserves recognition. Let's not pretend the competition was overwhelming either. Aja Wilson's been battling injuries. Brianna Stewart has had an inconsistent year. Sabrina Ionescu and Kelsey Plum are both having solid seasons, but none of them match Clark's trifecta: elite performance, team improvement, and cultural relevance. Even if the critics won't admit it, the fans see it. And the business side? Oh, that's not even a debate. Clark as captain means bigger crowds, higher viewership, more jersey sales, and more buzz for the All-Star game than the league has seen in years. The WNBA knows exactly what it's doing, and Caitlin Clark is at the center of that momentum. What's really hilarious is how some of these haters claim they're protecting the integrity of the game. Protecting it from what exactly? Popularity, excitement, a flood of new fans. The WNBA has spent decades trying to break into the mainstream. Now that they finally have that breakthrough, thanks to Clark, suddenly it's a problem. Make it make sense. And the international players are being overshadowed angle? Completely backwards. Clark doesn't take the spotlight away, she shares it. When fans tune in for Caitlin, they discover the rest of the league. Her presence amplifies everyone. In reality, every angry tweet, every bitter article, every jealous post, it all just feeds the machine. The haters aren't hurting Caitlin Clark. They've become her best marketing team. They're keeping her trending. They're driving the conversation. They're building more hype than any PR team ever could. And for all the talk about how Clark doesn't deserve to be captain, ask yourself this: who's bringing more eyeballs to the All-Star game? Who's driving storylines, viewership, and national buzz? Exactly. The draft alone is going to be must-see TV. Clark picking her squad, every decision she makes will spark debate. Will she go for the next generation and grab Paige Buchers? Will she stay loyal and pick her Fever teammate Aaliyah Boston? Whatever she does, it's already creating more excitement than the All-Star game has seen in years. And the funniest part of it all, while the critics complain, Caitlin Clark is out here changing the league and doing it with a smile. No hard feelings, but the pressure's on. Will Caitlin Clark stay loyal and choose Aaliyah Boston first? Will she shake things up with a bold pick? Whatever she does, one thing's for sure: every single choice is gonna light up the internet. But this goes way beyond just one game. Clark being named captain is a turning point, a clear sign of where the WNBA is headed. The league is finally leaning into its stars, embracing what fans actually care about, and allowing popularity to play a role. And that's not a bad thing. That's exactly how every pro league grows. Here's the bottom line: Caitlin Clark didn't just fall into this spot. She earned it with her performance, her presence, and her massive influence on the game. The haters can keep crying all they want, but in the end, all they're doing is proving just how important she is. Their non-stop obsession with her, it's the highest compliment, even if they're too bitter to admit it. So to everyone out there spiraling over this all-star captaincy, I've got just one message: don't like it, then maybe actually vote next time. Oh wait, you were too busy writing think pieces on Twitter about why Clark's overrated. How poetic. But while they rage in the comments, the real fans already decided Captain Caitlin Clark is here. And the salt flowing in every direction. Honestly, I'm loving every second of it, because at the end of the day, Captain Clark has a nice ring to it, don't you think? If you're rocking with Team Caitlin and believe she absolutely earned that captain spot, smash that like button and hit subscribe. And tell me this, who should Clark draft with her first pick? Drop your predictions below, let's talk.